Choice 2, 2nd of September 2020.
Action.
Action.
Okay, right, go ahead. Come on, Tony. Okay, right, so to carry on with population ecology, and remember, millions of definitions which you have to know. Okay, so yesterday we dealt with an individual being a single organism of a specific species. We spoke about scientific names, we spoke about genus name, we spoke about species name, and we spoke about the fact that if they are typed, they're in italics, but if you write them, you underline them. Tony! Okay.
That's it, that's how bad it is.
Sit nicely like a lady.
I'm sitting like a lady, man.
No, trust me.
No, man.
Would you go into a job interview and sit like that?
Well, if it got me the job, yes. No, I'm kidding.
Tony, what kind of job interviews do you go for, my child? Stripper.
Mine's for big money.
Oh, just mock the teacher. It's okay.
Man, is this on record?
Yes.
Sorry, everyone at home.
Okay, right. Next definition, and it's really important, and this one particularly is terribly important. Okay, so population is a group of individuals, and you've got to put all this information down. So Joshua's question yesterday was everything. Yes, everything, that's why it's there. Okay, group of individuals of the same species living together in a defined area, such that they can undergo random interbreeding and are reproductively isolated from other individuals of the same species in other habitats. Okay, you're right with that. Any questions, Jessica?
No, I was just stretching.
Oh, that's okay then. Why was I worried about the matric exam? Okay. All right, so no, I didn't know whether it was Isabella and Sept coming in. Okay, right, so game farm, fenced. Okay. All the impala on that game farm, presuming the game farm is small enough, and they can move around within the game farm and interbreed with each other. Okay. Then they are all one impala population because they can interbreed with each other. But if you've got right next to that game farm another game farm that's got impala, and on this game farm there is a male impala, his name is? Jeff. And on this game farm you've got a female impala, and her name is? Susan. Okay? And Jeff and Susan really love each other. They touch noses through the fence. They're still not in the same population because the fence prevents them doing the humpy-pumpy. Okay, so no humpy-pumpy, different populations. Okay, right, we're happy with that. Okay. Even if you've got on the same game farm, but you've got a river down the middle and the animals on this side cannot cross the river to the animals of the same species on the other side of the river, they are two separate populations because they can't breed with each other. They are reproductively isolated from each other. Okay, that's terribly important, that reproductive isolation part of the definition. Okay. And so this is an example of a population. It is all the individuals of that particular good old scientific name, which in fact is the national fish of South Africa, in one particular area, and they're able to interbreed with each other. Okay, Do not confuse the term population and the term species. So let's have a look at the word species. Species is a category of classification, and it's a group of individuals with similar characteristics and appearance that can breed amongst themselves and produce fertile offspring. So this is quite a complicated one. So I'm going to give you a good example. Okay, so here we've got Tony's dog, and Tony's dog's name is?
Mavis.
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 Okay, so here we've got Mavis. Okay, I'm presuming Mavis is a female dog.
Yeah.
Who's your next door neighbor?
Berlin. 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 He's German.
Okay. And he has a male dog, and that male dog's name is?
Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden. You know a hell of a lot more about her than you do, than she does. Okay, so here we've got Jaden, and here we've got Mavis, and Mavis comes into heat, and Jaden jumps the fence, and he does the dirty,
Does the dirty.
and Mavis produces puppies.
Remember, they're different dogs.
Yeah, this is a Chihuahua, and this is a Great Dane. Right? Or they can be the same species, but all dogs are Chihuahua.
Mavis is the great day.
Okay, all right, no, guys, come, focus. So they have puppies. Mavis has puppies. Mavis's puppies grow up. If they are fertile, in other words, they're able to have offspring with other dogs, otherwise it would be a bit mucky and inbreedy. Okay, then Mavis and what was his name? Jaden were the same species. Okay, so I'm going back to that again. Group of individuals with similar characteristics, and they are similar, even if it's a Chihuahua and a Great Dane.
They're both dogs.
If they're walking down the road and your little 2-year-old says to you, "Mommy, what's that?" You'll say it's a dog, and little 2-year-old will know that's a dog. Both of them are dogs. So they've got similar characteristics, they've got similar appearances. They can breed between themselves, amongst themselves. But their offspring must be fertile in order for them to be considered the same species. So I'm going to give you another example which is going to show you not fertile.
Why would they be not fertile?
Okay, going. Okay, so a horse and a donkey can mate and they produce a mule. But a mule is sterile.
Really?
Absolutely.
So
So if you want another mule, you've got to get a horse and a donkey too.
you can't get a mule and a mule.
Can't get a mule and a mule to make bobbies.
Shame.
And it's to do with, and you'll learn about this next year. It's to do with, I want to sneeze. Sorry.
This Mr. Goldsmith. Yeah? That's you. The sneeze.
Thank you. It's to do. Doesn't work with a face mask. Okay. It's to do with the chromosomes pairing up in meiosis. Now, you haven't learned about meiosis yet, but when an organism makes gametes, in other words, makes sex cells, so when a male makes sperm and when a female makes egg cells, there is a stage in that process where the gametes have to pair with each other. There's something called homologous pairs. They have to pair with their homologue. And because they came from organisms that were different species, they can't pair. If they can't pair, the next step doesn't happen. And so there's no sperm and no egg cells produced. So if they can't produce sperm and egg cells, or effective sperms and egg cells, then they can't produce their own offspring. So let's go back. They are similar to each other. A horse and a donkey, pretty similar. They can breed. In other words, the one can put a penis into the other. They can breed. They can produce offspring, but the offspring are not fertile. And because that part of the definition is not met, then a horse and a donkey are a different species. And so, if you looked at their scientific names, they're the same genus, but they're a different species.
That's the same as a lion and a leopard.
Absolutely. So,
Leo, Panthera, and Leo.
no, other way around. Panthera leo, Panthera pardus. So they're the same genus, but a different species.
So if they mate, does they...
So they can produce, you often hear about a lion and a tiger equals a liger and whatever, but a liger is sterile. That means that they're different species. But it's also under artificial circumstances generally, not always, that they will mate with each other. Okay, everybody happy puppies? Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. A community. Community is defined as all of the populations of different species living together in one area, interacting with each other. All species. And that means plants and fungi and bacteria, everything. Everything that's living in one area, interacting with each other, equals a community. Okay, so it's all the different species interacting in an area. Okay, right, we happy. Habitat is obviously the area in which an organism lives, and so this would be a rotting log community, and it's fungi, and it's bacteria, and it's carpenter ants, and it's termites, and it's blah blah thingamabob, equals a community. Okay, you happy? Okay. You know what ecology is because you studied it in grade 8 and you studied it in grade 10. So, if you've got an area where all the organisms, plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, blah blah thingamabob, all interact with each other and interact with the environment, and that's the one step extra for an ecosystem over and above a community. So community, all of the populations interacting with each other, all of the populations interacting with each other and with the environment equals an ecosystem, and the study of an ecosystem is called ecology. Okay. All right. Yes, Mrs. Page, we're fine.
Yes, Mrs. Page, we're fine.
Thank you for asking. Okay, population size, generally defined as the number of individuals in a population. However, it may be the mass of individuals in a population. Mass.
Why?
The biomass.
That's so weird.
Because if you're looking at bacteria, nobody in their right mind would like to count all the bacteria.
That's true.
So you filter them out and you measure their mass.
Okay, but let's say you look at elephants. Are you going to work with like a million?
No. Then you will work with number. Okay. So you look at the kind of organism you referring to, you talk about, and from the kind of organism you decide whether it's appropriate to do mass or number. Okay. All right. And you should know, I hope, that population sizes fluctuate seasonally because a lot of organisms die in winter. Okay?
Oh, like me right now.
Yeah, there we go. And they also fluctuate annually because one year there will be lots of rain and the next year there might not be lots of rain. Therefore, if there's lots of rain, there's lots of food. What's the matter?
It has a moustache.
No, it's not a bird. It's not a bird.
What is that?
It's a bird. It's eating. Look.
A moustache.
He has its beak.
It's a moustache. It's his head.
was putting in nice pictures for you guys, and 90% was dodge. Okay, all right. Population density. Okay, and this is defined as the number of individuals per unit area. Now just be careful because unit area varies according to the kind of organism you're looking at. So in the case of barnacles, and I hope you all know this is barnacles, this is not a moustache. Okay, these are barnacles living on a rock in this case, although you do know that barnacles also live on whales and boats and things like that. And it would be appropriate if I was talking about population density of barnacles to say the number of barnacles per meter squared. Okay, because barnacles are like that big.
Oh, barnacles.
Okay.
Process.
All right, we happy with that? On the other hand, here is a cheetah.
That's bigger.
And cheetah are very solitary, unless a female's an estrus or unless she's got cubs. And an appropriate unit area to use for cheetah population density would be like a per hectare or per square kilometer or something like that. Okay, so it would be a really, really big area, and this would be quite a small area because these are not solitary and they're quite small. Okay, you all happy with population density? Yes, Mrs. Page, we're fine. Thank you for asking. Okay. All right, supper. Wait until the exams. Okay, population parameters. Okay, so a parameter is any variable factor. You happy with the word variable? In other words, it can vary. Yes. Affecting a population size in this case, because that's what we're talking about. And there are 4 of them. There's natality, mortality, immigration, and emigration. So natality, mortality, immigration, and immigration. Natality is the number of births per 1,000 individuals per year.
But this is in humans. So is that just for humans or for everything?
You can get, the definition might vary slightly, but it would be the number of individuals per however many per year. Okay. Mortality is obviously the number of deaths per 1,000 per year. Immigration is the number of individuals entering a habitat per unit time, and the unit time depends on the species you're looking at. Okay, and immigration is the number of individuals leaving a habitat per unit time. Okay, so if you're looking at population size or population density, then natality and immigration add to a population, and immigration and mortality would decrease a population. So if we've got a population of mongooses. No, it's mongooses. If you've got a population of mongooses and they have 5 pups, okay, and 3 die, and 1 immigrates. How many did I start with?
5.
Really? Okay, 5 to start with, and 2 immigrate. What is the final size?
Many.
Now come on. No, I don't do arithmetic.
That's 6. So there's 1. It's
Okay.
11.
So there were
3?
5 of them, they have 5 pups, so that's 10.
Oh, 5.
And 1 immigrates, that's 11. Okay, so we've got 11 plus, but 3 of them die and 2 of them immigrate. 11 minus 5, I think is 7.
Wait, what?
Is
I
it?
don't know what that is.
Okay, Okay, we all know I don't do arithmetic. Having had 4 last time or something.
Wait, what? So there's 5?
Okay, so you've got to consider how many you start with, how many immigrate, and how many births, and how many emigrate and how many die. Okay, right, so you would work it out. Okay, happy. All right. So, classwork, homework, complete classroom activity number 1 on page 273 of your textbook. I suggest you take a photograph of the activity from your textbook so that you can refer back to it next year when you're revising this section in your trip. Because remember, you're not going to have your textbook next year.
And do you have it? Are you going to have one?
Me, mine, my own.
Cool.
Not yours and mine.
Ours.
No, I think you're confused.
Probably.
Very. Okay, right. Everybody happy? You've all written that down. This is still away. Lisa, while you're away. Who am I missing?
Shani's left. Their eyes tested.
Don't scare me.
No! It doesn't live forever.
Why is she getting her eyes tested during my lesson?
Because we learned about the eye, you know. She was scared.
No, I'm not getting it.
I'm joking, I don't know. The poor driver's test for this thing. Yeah. Oh, you're not even close to doing anything about drivers. Not even close, fam.
Otherwise, they test it for you. It's not a good experience
When they test it.
when they test it.
But if you have glasses, you don't have to go to test.
They do.
My sister's like,
I wear glasses.
they just took the prescription from the
Oh, but then she would have had to, yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay. All right, focus, listen. Yep.
Morning, man. Afternoon.
It feels like the night time.
Excuse us.
I'm just so confused. It's screaming.
They're going to see which children are healthy so they can take them to fight to the death.
Well, I must tell you the following. If one